So it's recording. So welcome to Abundant Moon membership. Shannon Port of Art of the Feminine. I'm so excited to have you with us. So thank you for coming.
Thank you. Trisha,
Yes.
Go by Trisha. Thank you so much, Trisha, for having me. It's an absolute delight to be here on
Great.
this Sunday morning in the middle of all the chaos that's happening on the emotional body of the planet.
Oh my God, I know.
I don't know if you know about it, but we are kind of in the middle of a big flare up. So really nice to be here today. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to introduce your work to people in our membership? What do you do yoga and you work with the Divine Feminine?
Sure, I will. So I guess I'll start by saying I have a platform called Art of the Feminine on Facebook, and it is it's a community, and I share a lot of visionary art. That's how it started. I mean, I named it Art of the Feminine. I think you had asked me that.
Yeah.
Because of alchemy, the feminine arts of alchemy. So it really had to do with the depth of the wisdom, of the feminine wisdom, but it also went so well with art, literal, real fine art and vision. And so I connect with a lot of visionary artists, profoundly beautiful work. And so I have that platform on Facebook, and I teach. As you know, I teach 5 courses throughout the year, and I mentor, and I do videos on YouTube. I do videos that I call divine archetype astrology because I use archetypal wisdom kind of in a unique way. It's my own blend of the divine feminine wisdom with the archetypal wisdom that I teach. And I use that to work with the planetary bodies and just share the communication of what's really the projection of the human psyche at the time. And so the purpose of it, I love astrology, and I love traditional astrology, but this is really about looking at the play that's taking place, and all the characters and how we're working things out in our psyche at the time. So it really brings it to life. So I do that right now every week on YouTube. And then what else? I do a lot of writing. I write the Akashic Insight newsletter, and that's it's nice. I'll tell you about it later if you want to know. I mean, I'll tell you about it later. So I write and I teach, and and astrology and the divine feminine wisdom and the feminine mysteries, all of that are part of the work.
Amazing. I've been following your work for the last few years, and I watch your YouTube videos now that you do every Friday. But it just blows my mind, the expanse of your knowledge, and how passionate you are about your work and how fascinated you are with what's going on, with the planet and the astrology and the different cycles. It's just incredible, because I would be the same. It's like I never get bored of it, or never get bored of studying and just moving deeper into it. And it's just beautiful to watch your videos. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it is. It's creativity. It really is. It's a stream. And when I teach light body yoga, so the yoga I teach is very metaphysics oriented and wisdom oriented. So I taught the traditional physical yoga. It's based on the deeper wisdom. And so I teach something called light body streaming. And so when I do those videos, it has a lot to do with connecting the heart and just opening that stream and seeing the dance. And it almost is like making a painting or being part of a play, because the interaction that takes place when you're connecting with the planets, connecting with the archetypes, feeling them in your heart, and understanding the healing that's taking place in the collective consciousness right now is profound. And it can be really heavy and chaotic and discordant at times. People are suffering, are also waking up. So both things are happening. But I feel like when I do those videos, it really is about tapping into the positive stream, so that whoever hears them is receives that spark and catches that positive light in their heart, that they can go out and not be because we're in a time, as you know, of profound change, and it's only going to get more and more. And I mean, we're just really, it's the momentum is happening now.
Yeah, yeah.
Even with what we see happening in the planet, how everything just blows up. So that's what that's about. And so I'm glad. So hearing that you're touched by that
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
That's what it's meant to do.
Yeah, great. We spoke a little bit about, just briefly about, on your website, you say that you were initiated into the mysteries. And, I found, like, since I was small as well, it was like step by step, kind of often like looking around in the dark for your next step. How have you found you've been led to the next, like, chapter in your evolution? Like, what is it that draws you forward?
I think it's two things. I think it starts with your willingness and your desire to create and to listen to your heart. And so I always tell, and I mentor, so when I work with people, I always start with where you are. What do you want now? And what is calling you right now? And I feel like when you put that in motion and you start to create, and creating isn't all fun because it also involves facing your blocks, because almost everyone inevitably, whether they want to be a writer, an actor, a chemist, a physicist, but oftentimes the right brain people have a little bit more of a challenge of either avoidance or a block, and a lot of people are wanting at this time to move from the left brain to the right brain, and vice versa. But so I find once I would start following my path, and it started with the arts and the performing arts as a young girl, then when my heart would really be ignited, the next great challenge would show up. And it was like create, challenge, create, and the challenges got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And that's what I call the initiations. And this is what I would say about that. You can't really say a lot about it because it's so subjective, and it happens from within. So every person, once you really get with it, it's a very silent, you're not telling everyone about it, but it's happening. So I would say that and it's so funny, I went silent right as I was going to talk about it, that as you carry, as your containers becoming more expansive and you're able to really hold higher and higher frequency of the wisdom, there's a balancing factor that comes in that makes sure that you will be able to carry it and truly walk it. And so it's not everyone has that calling, there's different levels of people, so this is not to scare anyone away. Not everyone is meant to, everyone's playing their part in the but as the wisdom gets more pure, you get purified. And so if you start to talk about something and you really, really have the intention of holding that wisdom, all the initiations that are involved to make sure that you can really merge your words with the truth of the energy come to be. And so the opposite of that would be, someone going around and misusing the wisdom to gain attraction or fame or whatever. And so sometimes the ego or the more narcissistic view can gain a lot of traction and really blow up and light, but eventually, if one hasn't balanced as they go, there'll be a big balance at the end. And that's usually just a fall back into the abyss where you have to start over.
The
initiations just keep you going. It's like the goddess Maat. And I always get called for saying her name right, but Ma'at, the goddess of the heart with the wings and the scales. It's that always, and the Hebrew letter is lamed, which is to teach and to learn are the same. So what you teach, you must learn. And so those are the initiations. And so when I meet people like you and people who come to me who I work with and mentor, it's so sacred. And because I know the path that you're on and that people are on, and I've walked it and I am walking it, and I know what it involves. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. And yet those initiations come and they involve us to use the core of our strength and our courage. That's what they are. I won't yes. So
I know.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And like, being on this path also, as you said, different people have different levels, but I'm quite like you. It's like if I'm to step into something, I'll get a big initiation coming. I'll be like, it'll just come in a wave. But I'm now at the stage where it's like, if something just gets turned up, I always know it's like, okay, there's a lesson here. There's something I need to master. There's something I need to move through. And like, then you can move deeper into it without like fighting it as well. At the same time, it's like, there's something here,
And
always.
it always gives you a gift and more power. Silent power. It's not the power you go around bragging about, but you get bigger. And then you can hold the dark. And then when things like what's happening in the planet happen right now, there's a little bit different way of reacting. Like the reactivity shifts a little bit into greater expansion. And you're guided what to do rather than to just lose control and fall into the panic mode.
Yeah.
Specific guidance comes through, and you know where your energy is best going to serve. And that's intuition. And that's a great skill we all have. When we're living by intuition, we're doing our part. We're doing, we're giving the full self. Not just the emotional body that's and there's a time to go through that where we have to break down, melt down, release anger, rage, and all of that. But as we work through that with ourselves, we're given more power rather than being more victim-y. We get more power.
Totally. I was just about to say that it's like it goes from the victim coming forward to your warrior coming forward. It's like it's amazing.
And those Kundalini expands in you. So I feel lit up just talking about it.
Yeah, I'm not getting goosebumps.
What's happening right now is meant to happen. We're redoing everything, and probably many more situations like this. And in reality, there's an inverted paradigm that we're living in. So sometimes what we think we see, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
In many cases. And so we just have to know our center so that we can navigate that.
Yes, totally. Yeah. I wasn't going to ask this question, but it just popped into my head. I was at a Magdalena retreat during the summer and about Mary Magdalene, and the facilitator of the retreat blew my mind. At the end of it, she said, the Dalai Lama said the Western woman was going to save the world. And she said, it's because we have privilege and we have a voice and we have a responsibility to use that voice to actually bring the divine feminine back, or, just create more of an energy for it the container for it to emerge,
Yes. Oh yeah. I love that. I remember he said that around the year. He said that right before when I started the podcast I started with a teleconference called Light Body Woman, which is the name of one of the programs I do. And he had just said that everything was around 2012 and things were really coming in strong for that. But absolutely. And that's so beautiful. You went on a retreat. Mary Magdalene's been with me since I was.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I was talking about her way before people back, I was raised Catholic, and when I was young, Gary Magdalene was definitely the prostitute. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people didn't understand why I was 3 years old saying I wanted to name my baby Mary
Magdalene. I know, yeah.
But she does. She speaks. That I didn't even know what it meant, to tell you the truth. A little girl, but I knew that was part of the path of the divine feminine for sure.
Wow.
Just that archetypal energy, regardless of what tradition you come from. She's one of the great archetypes for sure.
I was raised Catholic also, and it was just the same thing with Magdalena. I was she had a very different face to what she is. Like, it's what she really was. It's how her story was just completely like turned around and just thrown into the dark. Like a woman as a female leader and being a spiritual leader was just like thrown into the shadows, like, into the collective shadows. It's frightening, but we won't go into that.
It really isn't. I didn't even know that was my path. Well, I did know it was my path at the time. I think we were going to talk about that, but and in a way, it's built that force it's such a, it's coming in like the tower, like
Yeah,
lightning.
yeah.
It's the Kundalini from above and below, and that's
Mm.
her. That's,
Yes,
so,
yeah.
so she never left. She's here.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. I've been like connecting with women from all over the world who are just like, I don't know at the start, but then we start talking about Mary Magdalene, and it seems that everybody I'm connecting with, she's their guide, or they have some big story with her, or it's incredible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, what's happening is a very organic process.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening, and so we can trust in that. That when we do what we're here to do, when we follow our inner path, that we're connecting whatever frequency we're in when we tap into
Mm.
our work. We connect with the web of people at that place. So sometimes we go up, sometimes we go back down.
Yeah,
But when we just like you and I connecting, you do know what I
yeah.
mean? There's a point in time and space when that is right to happen for that reason. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why being open in the heart and doing our work is what makes those connections. And it's all over, like you said, it's all over. So
Yeah.
it's all over the planet.
So you talk a lot about beauty and passion and creativity in your work, like, and inspiration. How would you encourage people in our membership to bring more beauty in and bring more creativity in?
Oh, and creativity. All
Yeah.
right. So I'm looking at Venus right now on my wall. Venus is always an archetype for beauty and for creativity and for art.
Mm.
One of the things that comes to mind though is to live with grace and to live with beauty in our own life.
Mm.
Like we are a vessel for beauty. Everything we do. Um, everything is sacred. And so when we start to understand our beauty, and it can start with a physical body, just to understand your form
Mm.
it's alive and it has beauty in it. And as a woman, our form radiates the spirit, Holy Spirit, and the divine
Mm.
and that feminine force. And to find grace and beauty in everything you do in your life, the way you speak, the way you interact with food, with other people. By food, I just mean celebrating it, like
Yeah.
enjoying your food, like really honoring moments, whether you sit down to have a cup of tea or have something beautiful to eat. Anything that opens your heart, like if you like to prepare something beautiful, share with other people. If you
Mm.
have, and it's so wonderful you have that group. It's amazing when we get together and share and we just hear each other and accept each other. Beauty
Mm-hmm.
is born instantly.
Yeah.
Seeing beauty in other people and being in awe of it, just the light in the eyes and the face, and it's in everybody. And the more
Mm.
we see beauty in other people, the more it starts to just flow from us. So I would say, know that you are grace, know that you are
Mm-hmm.
um and refuse to. It's important, like we don't deny, and I don't deny in my work at all, going through the emotional healing and those processes that
Mm-hmm.
are ugly and messy, and we have
Yes.
to go through. That's beautiful too. I mean, but
Yeah.
you know that when you're going through that, I mean, I can say that coming from someone who's been through the deepest, hardest transformations.
Mm.
In those moments, I remember just opening my eyes and feeling complete beauty and grace when I
Yeah.
was at my lowest,
Mm.
knowing that in that moment that the goddess is always inside you, always. So
Mm.
know that, and kind of start to get more discernment about being pulled in to there's a frequency on the planet that is definitely trying to oppose beauty, real,
Mm-hmm.
authentic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it plays a lot of tricks. It's a trickster. It really
Mm-hmm.
likes to mess with the emotional body, because that gives outbursts of kundalini, and it lets our kundalini energy escape
Mm-hmm.
when we're reactive. Our
Yeah.
fire is going out to serve the matrix. It's keeping the
Yes.
in place. So as we become really discerning of our heart, and we know that we're grace and we're beauty and we're women, we have men too, but we have this power inside us. even if we've been abused, even if we've fallen on our face many, many times, we, by the very vehicle that we occupy, are pure power.
Mm-hmm.
And there's got to be a paradigm shift to understand that, because when we know we're powerful, we become graceful. Because
Yes.
there's no need to take it on when we see something's just trying to trigger us. Instead,
Mm-hmm.
there's a divine creativity that comes up from us. And I know when I get triggered now, which I still get triggered very deeply sometimes, because it's hard what we're going through, and some
Yeah.
people come at, hard. But now, whenever I get triggered and I feel that ugly body of pain coming up that wants to go into that mode, because it's always alive in us. We never, until the final step, it's always there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is power. I can use it. I know that. And so I just take a step back, though, rather than react. I let myself sit with it and go through whatever process I need to. And then boom, I will create something. I will write something huge or create something, because if you hold that energy just for a moment,
Yeah.
and say, okay, I see what's happening here. I'm going to react, but I'm not going to have a forced reactivity to. I'm just going to sit with it. It will transmute and become power to do whatever you need to do. So even if it's a relationship or your home, whatever it is that's got you really holding you and making you feel like you're just angry or mad, use that as power. Like you said, use it, sit for a moment. So also, dance, feel light, feel love, sit outside, look at the stars, look at the moon, look at the planets, see what's coming down, understand the beauty of plant life, of Gaia just speaking through. That is a sure way to always just take a break from everything and walk out and say, oh, it's here. I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Outside my window that and I'm sure you do too, where you live, but just go take advantage of where you guys live.
Yeah.
So beauty and creativity go hand in hand.
Yeah.
They fuel each other. That's how I feel. It's endless.
Yeah.
It's about service ultimately. Then we serve others, and sometimes we have to sacrifice. Sometimes we put ourselves. Sometimes that is part of the initiation, that things might not seem to be building for us as much, but we still keep that light shining. We just, because we know, never, ever, ever doubt your path. Never.
Yeah. I know. Trusted. Amazing. We've been working a lot with our inner masculine also, in our group, and creating this very strong fortress around your sacred feminine, around your creativity, and just staying anchored in it, rather than letting your feminine energy spill out and kind of go into the void, or become unused, that you're holding it. You're always holding it.
Amazing. I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
Great. That's amazing. Exactly. And I think I just did a video called The Warrior of Light, where I was talking a little bit about the warrior, and that's it. Because we need our masculine, we need our emperor, we need our solar plexus nice and strong. We need to be able to. So when I'm talking about being graceful and beautiful all the time, it doesn't mean that sometimes we need to also be able to hold a good boundary, like you said, so that, and so I've been talking a lot about this lately, because a lot of people are talking about boundaries, and sometimes in the beginning we need to make a lot of boundaries, because we're like a child birthing, and we need to really be protected in our own home, our parents guarding us. So we can be a child and let it all out, and then we get stronger and stronger. And so our boundaries no longer are about hurting people or saying, like, I can't be around you, but they're very compassionate. And we're careful about other people's feelings, meaning, because sometimes even people we love and are working with, we can see, as we get more intuition, we can see something they're going through, or this or that, and we step away for a while, because we know that what we're birthing is, there might be something coming in that's just not, what I'm talking about.
Totally.
Personal boundaries. So sometimes we need boundaries with people we love. And also, that is the masculine too. That's just to be able to say, use the power of your word with either soft boundaries or very firm boundaries, like big things in the world, but to create that fortress, and so that you can be available to everyone more and more, because eventually we become, as we get higher and higher, we become more available on a different level.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
just shown in the right time.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to say about what you guys are doing though? That's like you said, to go into the void and to just let that energy out.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. When you're doing a lot of healing, and sometimes isolation will come in just to make sure you can get your
Concentrate.
dark out. Yeah. And
Yeah.
get your feminine go. So she can
Yeah.
work through that inner chaos, and that inner pain body that's in there needs to come out and have it.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's so amazing that you guys.
Mm. Yeah, because what I found over the last couple of months is, there's a lot of talk about the divine feminine, but there isn't a lot of talk about the divine masculine. And if you Google the divine masculine, the information isn't great. Like, it's just not great. So I've been downloading information about my sacred masculine from source, and just, looking at like boundaries and, awareness, and reading your environment, and, your purpose, and, honoring your work. So yeah, it takes you on a different journey when you actually download it from source yourself, rather than looking. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's the way. I mean, that's ultimately what we bring in when we're searching, and we bring it in ourselves. That's where the real fruit comes from, because
Yeah.
that's when we're ready. We're guided on what to ask for and how to put that out there. And so that's
Yeah.
amazing. But also I've done quite a few talks and videos on the divine masculine, and I work a lot with the masculine archetypes, and especially zodiac too. What I see is a real need for healing with, even, I mean, I won't say too much about this, but
Yeah.
but just even how we deal with what is wrong in this world. I mean, because there's a lot of things really damaged and really wrong. But when you think that every human being is somebody's son or daughter, and if you do you have any children? When I had a massive experience when I have one son, but when I had I mean, it was a cosmic download if there ever was one. But just how, when you realize that every person has that child inside them, whether they're damaged, whether they're hurting other people. First of all, we've all been there on one level before, all of us. That's why we know it. And that's actually why it evokes rage too, because there's parts of ourself that are mad at ourselves. It goes very, very deep. But I believe we're going to need a lot of divine masculine and feminine together to understand how to get through what's coming. Is going to be that great healing. And there's going to be anger and rage, because on both sides there's a lot of hurt. And at first, the first reaction is always to point the finger and go hardcore. Even when people, I'm sure you face this, even when people are carrying the light and saying they're the divine feminine, a lot of times that can turn into something that gets self-righteous, or that you know what I mean. And so there's the healing goes deep, but it's profound and it's beautiful. It's fun when you start to get there. You see that obviously some things are just going to have to go, but there's healing in everybody, and through listening, and through sometimes even with the people we hate the most. And there's definitely people out there that are hated the most. But if you can open your power by listening and hearing what's beyond what they're saying. Do you know what I mean? When you hear the spirit inside them, they will automatically rise because of that.
Wow. Yeah.
We're healing the divine masculine too by listening, and there's more about that that's coming in.
Yeah.
The work I'm doing. But
amazing. So what kind of practices do you do on a daily basis to kind of stay in alignment with your work and stay focused on what you're creating?
I would say that at this point, it's inescapable. It's every day. It's hard to. It's kind of hard to not be in it right now, just because it's on so deep. And so but I don't really have the tendency to stray anymore, because I've been brought into such great periods of isolation where I had to go through different things. And so, but what I would say is very, very helpful. Keep the any positive scriptures you have or sacred texts.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain texts that just have a that's so that when you need something to turn to, because we all have time, we turn within, but sometimes the outer world is so shaky that
Yes.
being able to pick something up and open it and read a line or two will instantly bring you back.
Yeah.
Some of these words have they embody the Christ light, the Christic force, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
feminine force of Magdalene too.
Yeah.
So find the one that speaks to you, and just always have it on your bed's table, or I always have one on my, so that if I'm overwhelmed and I need to turn to something so that I feel like I'm being held, I just open, I feel like a massive guide just comes in. I mostly turn inward, but because I interface with the world, I feel like it's also powerful to have something on the outside as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of spiritual paths are about the I am, the path, and I talked about this in the video, and that's a very male path, to just be inward, just hold that. It's female too. It can get tricky, but in terms of the paths of healing, it's the masculine consciousness is to just be I am, and kind of reject the phenomenal world and say, oh,
Yeah.
that's just, don't get married, or don't do this, or that's just
Yeah.
action from God. But
Mm-hmm.
in the divine feminine, we created this, and we don't create something and just disown it, meaning God or goddess has birthed. We don't birth our children and just say, oh, I didn't like you, you didn't turn out, I'm going to let you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a world out there. And so when you interface with the world and when you're doing healing work, having something on the outside can be really powerful. I'm looking outside right now and would say that something I do every day is sit down with nature, listen to the
Mm-hmm.
and I know that can sound kind of abstract, but I literally walk out. I have a nice balcony and I listen. It's the first thing I do every morning in the dark.
Yeah.
Walk out, feel the cool air, listen to and just attune myself.
Yeah.
And I do it several times through the day. So that, and then sacred music. If you have, I have come from a lineage where I did a lot of chanting for many, many years, and I have feelings about getting too caught up in it from the wrong alignment,
Yes.
but do you know what I mean, where it
Yeah.
becomes a session and it kind
Yeah.
of but I do know that devotional, like singing the name of God or goddess, and where your heart is just opening and they're sacred, can really, really, I know when I want to create, I'll do that for a few minutes and it just comes. So
Yeah.
that and then just going into the inner temple.
Amazing.
Once you learn how to get there every
Yeah.
day, wake up, take a moment. I usually have a ritual where I just light a candle first thing when I wake up, sit in my bed. I'll have a text here, this here, like everything. I walk outside, see, I do it all. Boom, boom, boom. I don't even
Yeah.
think. And then the calls start, the videos
Yeah.
start,
Yeah.
and it starts. But yeah, do it and make it a priority. Don't, especially in this tech age with so much social media, you know, it can get overwhelming because once we're in that zone, it's competition, it's likes, it's this,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
without even
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah.
So much coming at us that make sure to just balance it out. You don't have to get
Yeah.
it all together, but make sure you have some authentic time where you're not being beamed by this programming, because there's a lot of
Totally.
programming. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that cover it. I mean, there's very simple things, but that's basically how I spend all day every day. So
Yeah. Yeah. So where can our community find you, and what have you coming up that might be of service to them? Any programs or courses or?
yes, I have. I'm not sure which. I teach 5 courses. Um, I teach the Inner Mystery School of Divine Love, which is a Magdalene
Wow.
mystery school. It's very, very deep.
Yeah.
I teach light body yoga. I teach the secret wisdom of the archetypes,
Yeah.
light body tantra, which is all the sacred teachings in sexuality, and I teach fertility, the goddess fertility. That was that's how I got started.
Wow.
Um, but I don't know which course I'm teaching next. However, I mentor, and I take 3-month increments where I work with people, and I'm doing that now. I just kind of started my session for fall,
Yeah.
but 3 months where I do 10 sessions. And so that's where I teach all this wisdom. And it's truly mentoring. So you show up, you just, whatever relationship you're in, whatever creativity, whatever you're doing, right then we start to talk about it like you would in a therapeutic mentoring environment,
Yeah.
and let the wisdom become speak to that practically, so then it starts to grow, it teaches. And so it's a really profound experience. I'm doing that now. There's still time if anyone is interested.
Yeah.
I start probably up through the first half of October. I started in September, but I could go, but I do that every 3 months. And what else? Art of the Feminine Facebook page is a fun place to meet up.
Mm-hmm.
So I would invite you to find me at Art of the Feminine on the Facebook page, and YouTube videos, any place there, the Shannon Port channels where I do the astrology, divine archetype astrology every week. So there's a lot of places to find me, but the actual program I would be doing right now would be mentoring. Oh, I know. If you want to find out about the things coming up, since I don't have a course on the table right now, the Akashic Insight newsletter is the newsletter where I do an Akashic Records reading for the planet every month. And they're quite beautiful. It's just, like you said, it's a download of the collective consciousness, and they're usually really deep. I'm just speaking to where we're at. Like I tune in deeply and can feel it because of this connection with nature. That's where I post the courses and stuff. So sign up for the Akashic Insight newsletter at Art of the Feminine. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Will I just wrap up?
All right.
So I'll put your links under our thing for everybody so they can connect with you.
Thank you. So are we done?
I'll press, we'll stop now. Okay.